I know there's been a lot of negative commentary directed in particular at my colleagues, but in particular the mayor around process. If this meeting had not happened today, she would not have been following process and defending democratic principles. So I just wanted to make that really clear. To my knowledge, there's no hidden agendas behind anything that's happening, just appropriate process. I guess where I'm at it is I'm really a little bit frustrated that most significant portion of your representatives in your community aren't in this room today for different reasons, and I don't need to cast any shade on that, but it's kind of informed my position a little bit today. Is I think that this is a major decision for the city. It's challenging. If I were thinking this was a budget decision, it would be difficult to vote for a budget that we'd all agreed to with so few people represented in the room. I don't want to cloud my support. I'm supportive of the resolution, but I also think that it's important for the next council to own this. They're going to own the work. I think that they should own the decision as well. And I think that decision date, the deferral motion gave an appropriate date to allow them the time and opportunity with our staff to get that forward. So I guess to sum it up, I support the resolution, but will be voting against it.
Thank you. Councillor LeJeune. Anyone else wish to speak on the motion? All right, I will call for the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. It was carried on division, so those voting in favor were Deputy Mayor Pike, Councillor Ericson, Councillor LeBlanc, and Councillor Darrah. Those voting against were Councillor LeJeune and Councillor Breen. And I'm going to add to this, just to be very clear, clearly every councillor was invited to attend this meeting, and as Councillor LeJeune pointed out, for various reasons, made a choice to not be here. So, yes, could you please continue the resolutions, Deputy Mayor?
Certainly, Your Worship. Resolution number 2, whereas the Council of the City of Fredericton adopted a resolution dated May 10th, 2026, herewith confirming its notice of intention to expropriate filed October 6, 2025, in respect of the interest described in the said notice of intention to expropriate from the property situated at the corner of Smythe Street and Saunders Street and identified as PIDs 1440825, 1440833, 750-26641, 75262, 808, 755-69566, and 755-69574, consisting of approximately 30 acres of property, and authorizing the expropriation of the said interest in the property pursuant to the Expropriations Act, RSNB 1973, CE 14, as amended the Act, and whereas the property is occupied by the Fredericton Exhibition Limited, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Fredericton hereby authorizes and directs that an offer of $4,140,000 shall be made to Fredericton Exhibition Limited in full compensation for its interest of any kind in the property, which amount represents 100% of the market value of the said interest as determined by CBRE Limited, and such other amounts as may be payable under the Act. B, a Form B2 offer and tender of compensation shall be served upon the Fredericton Exhibition Limited. C, the aforementioned amount of $4,140,000 shall be tendered upon Fredericton Exhibition Limited, subject to payout of the mortgage in favor of the Royal Bank of Canada, granted by Fredericton Exhibition Limited over its said interests. And D, a copy of the appraisal report prepared by Jason White, BBA, PAPP, AACI, R/W AC, Senior Vice President Valuation Advisory Services of CBRE Limited, upon which the offer and tender are based, shall be served on Fredericton Exhibition Limited. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Fredericton hereby authorizes and directs the preparation and service by city staff of a notice of possession upon Fredericton Exhibition Limited pursuant to Section 22 of the Act, specifying a date for the city's possession of the property that is no sooner than 90 days after the date of registration under the notice of expropriation. Such date shall be determined by city staff, or a date as may be mutually agreed between city staff and Fredericton Exhibition Limited, and the council further authorizes and directs city staff to serve the said notice of possession or a copy thereof on Two Pats Enterprises Incorporated, Williams Seafood 2025 Limited, TROUW Nutrition Canada Incorporated, and any other person who is entitled to receive the said notice of possession or a copy thereof in accordance with the Act. And be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Fredericton hereby authorizes and directs city staff and the city's external legal counsel to take any and all necessary actions to facilitate and give effect to this resolution, and further authorizes and directs the mayor and city clerk to execute all documents on behalf of the City of Fredericton, the expropriating authority, to facilitate and give effect to this resolution, and that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. I so move.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. On the question, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried on division with Deputy Mayor Pike, Councillor Ericson, Councillor LeBlanc, Councillor LeJeune, and Councillor Darrah voting in favor, and Councillor Breen voting against. Continue, please, with the resolution.
Thank you, Your Worship. Resolution number 3. Be resolved that the Council of the City of Fredericton hereby declares surplus and authorizes and approves the sale of a plus or minus 4.82 hectare, so 11.9 acres, parcel of land situated on city-owned property at 10 Saunders Street, Fredericton, New Brunswick, being a portion of PID 01440825 to the province of New Brunswick as represented by the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure for the construction of a school for the amount of $7,735,000 subject to applicable terms and conditions, and be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk approve and are authorized to execute the agreement of purchase and sale, the agreement substantially in the form as attached on behalf of local government and such further legal documents as may be required to facilitate the agreement between the parties and this resolution. So move.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. On the question, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Continue, please.
Certainly, Your Worship. Resolution number 4. Whereas the Council of the City of Fredericton adopted a resolution on May 10th, 2026, confirming its notice of intention to expropriate filed October 6, 2025, with respect to the interest described herein in the property situated at the corner of Smythe Street and Saunders Street and identified as PIDs 1440825, 1440833, 750-26641, 752-62808, 755-69566, and 755-69574, consisting of approximately 30 acres. The property, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Fredericton hereby authorizes and directs the Director of Planning, Development, and Bylaw Enforcement to prepare appropriate amendments to bylaw number Z6, a bylaw to adopt a municipal plan for the City of Fredericton, bylaw number Z-5, a zoning bylaw for the City of Fredericton, and bylaw number Z-12, New Brunswick Exhibition Grounds Secondary Municipal Plan as required to give effect to the development of educational, housing, and other community enriching services, facilities, and things deemed necessary and desirable by City Council in the promotion of the safety, well-being, and viability of the city and its residents of the property.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. On the question, All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. And finally, please, Deputy Mayor Peck.
Resolution number 5, whereas by resolution of Council for the City of Fredericton, the city, dated May 10th, 2026, Council authorized and directed the expropriation of all of the interests held by Fredericton Exhibition Limited, FEL, in the Exhibition Grounds racetrack and adjacent lands and premises located along Saunders Street, Smythe Street, in Fredericton, New Brunswick, approximately 30 acres in size, and currently identified as PID 1440825, 1440833, 750-26641, 752-62808, 755-69566, and 755-69574, the property. And whereas the city operating procedure, number COR-OP-033, provides that the city's approach to expropriation be guided by the principles of transparency and good faith negotiation, amongst others. And where City Council deems it desirable for the city to continue negotiating with FEL, Fredericton Exhibition Limited, throughout the expropriation process to provide the city and Fredericton Exhibition Limited with the opportunity to reach agreement by negotiation. Now therefore, be it resolved as follows. Number 1, notwithstanding expropriation proceedings, the Council of the City of Fredericton hereby authorizes and directs city staff and external legal counsel to continue negotiation with FEL in good faith in respect of A, the acquisition of all of FEL's interests in the property, and or B, the agreement by the city and FEL to permit the development of number 1, approximately 11.9 acres of the property for a new school called the school project, and 2, the remainder of the property being for greater certainty 18 acres in size for A, the development of high density and other housing and or mixed use buildings, including housing thereon the housing project, and or B, such community uses as may be identified by the city for the economic, social, and or environmental well-being of the community and its residents, the community project. 2, the purposes of the negotiations as authorized herein and for greater certainty, City Council hereby confirms that the city may negotiate to A, lease a portion of the property back to FEL pursuant to a new lease agreement, the terms of which shall be subject to the approval of City Council until such time as the city determines that such portion of the property is required in connection with the housing project and or the community project, and or B, assist FEL with the acquisition of an alternate site for FEL's agricultural exhibit-related activities and purposes. Number 3, the mayor and clerk are hereby authorized and directed to execute all documents and take all actions necessary in connection with the foregoing. And number 4, city staff are hereby authorized and directed A, to report back to council as considered necessary by city staff with any relevant documents or communications in connection with the foregoing, and B, to engage or continue to engage external legal counsel and other professional advisors as needed in connection with this resolution and the actions authorized herein. 5, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. I so move.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. On the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, everyone. We will now, staff will now proceed and carry out the motions, and I guess my final words on this would be council here today has secured the land at the corner of Smythe and Saunders Street for a school, for housing, and for community purpose. The next council will be able to determine what that looks like and negotiate with FEL to see what role they will play into the future. I, for one, am very committed to the joint development plan that we came up with the community. And this now, by securing this land, we are now able to pursue the desired vision of that joint development plan, which we were not able to carry out because we were not able, because of the discussions were not fruitful, and now this puts our city in a position where we are actually able to fulfill the intent of that development plan, with the community purpose being very open. And I would say the agricultural society, if they view the heritage of that land, the agricultural purpose of that land as important to our community, there's a real opportunity there for us to be working together as a city and as an FEL to see what that might look like into the future. So this land is simply secured for that to happen, and I wish the new incoming council all the best as they dream and vision what that might look like. I think there's a real opportunity for the incoming council to do that work. There's still much work to do, and this just puts them in a position to carry that out. So thank you everyone for being with us here this evening. With that, I will take Pike and Ericson to adjourn our question. All those in favor? Opposed?